Hello, my lovelies. Welcome to Lean and Clean with Fitness Chef Christine. Today, we are going to be talking about Pilates and strength training. So we have talked endlessly about food, but this show is dedicated to women who are perimenopause or postmenopause, talking about food and faith and fat loss and fitness. So today, our focus is going to be on the fitness side of things. We've talked about why it's important to strength train. As we get older, every year our muscle tone starts to drop. So we have to fight against that and start to work those muscles. We've talked about why I strength train and what I do. I usually strength train 3 to 4 times a week. It used to be more like 5 to 6 times a week. I also teach water fitness and I've recently got my Pilates certification for mat Pilates. But I also invested in myself. You'll see here a Pilates reformer. So today I really wanted to talk to you about why I made that change, because while I absolutely love strength training, I love seeing definition in my biceps and feeling stronger and being able to carry the 40-pound water bottles in by myself without struggling, being able to pick up my almost 60-pound grandson without struggling, it is starting to affect my body. And having been an instructor of fitness and then going and adding on to that with strength training was starting to affect my mobility. Now I do yoga and other forms of stretching and everything else, work on my mobility, but I did find that I really needed some more core strength. And all the deadlifts in the world weren't helping me. What that was doing was putting additional stress on my hip flexors, because every time I came back, my hip flexors would tighten up. And by the time I was done with my exercise late at night, everything was locked up. So I started to look into more about Pilates. One of the things I really loved was what Joseph Pilates did. So he saw people stuck in hospital beds and he wanted them to have a way to continue to exercise. So he was brilliant. He really rigged it so that they could still exercise from their beds. This gives people hope that have had injuries. So rehabbing injuries Pilates is a great solution for that. So let me just list, I wrote out some of my top reasons for doing Pilates, and my old brain, I have to write everything out because even though I think I know it, I still have to write it out. So if you're like me, I'm a list maker. I know we have smartphones and we can make lists on our smartphones, and I guess I do plenty of that too, but I'm an old-fashioned handwritten list maker. So here we go. Number 1, your posture. How we standing with a nice straight spine, standing with our shoulders back and down, super important. We don't want to be like this when we get older, right? We don't want to round out. We want to make sure that we have the core strength to make sure we can lift ourselves. So our core strength is not just about your abs. Your core strength is all the way around, including your glutes. That is all your core muscles. And ladies, if you ever had a big sneeze coming in, you have to squeeze because we pee ourselves. Such fun. But building up that core strength is going to help us to keep that pee locked inside until we're ready to use the toilet. Although that's embarrassing, it is a fact of life for all of us older ladies. Reducing stress. So our Pilates breathing, those deep breaths and those long exhales, helps reduce our stress level. So important. And even when I strength train, so when I'm lifting, let's say I'm using a 12-pound dumbbell and I have done some curls and it's starting to get hard, so I use my breath work to help me keep that mind muscle control and really work through those reps. It is the same way when I'm doing Pilates. When I am doing a Pilates roll up, which I'll show you in a little bit, you have to really think about your breath work. So every time you contract, you breathe out, you take a nice full inhale, and you do it all again. Injury prevention. This is one that I absolutely love, and this is primarily why I started doing Pilates, because I was having such bad muscle cramps. Now they're not gone. I still have them. I'm still eating my dill pickles every day to help with those electrolytes and taking electrolyte tabs, but they come and they go. So while they might be bad now, they certainly have gotten a lot better. Improving our balance. How many women, as they age, end up with a broken hip, a broken bone of some sort, and they go into the hospital and they never quite recover. They may get an infection and that leads to their death. We don't want that to be us. If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. We are here for our 90-year-old selves. We are here to make sure that as we get older, we can stay mobile and stay active and lead happy lives and get away from the doctors. All right, flexibility, right? Woo, we want to be able to touch our toes. We want to be able to tie our shoes. We want to be able to reach for things that are up high. Flexibility is super important. So you want to be flexible and have balance so that you're not reaching for your toes and fall over. How many of us have that lower back pain, right? We can get rid of some of that lower back pain by really increasing our core strength and taking the pressure off of our back. Increase mobility. Now, I've said, I have the hiccups all of a sudden. I have said that I've been doing some mobility programs that is just dedicated to mobility and primal moves so that we can really get into that. And that's true. But my mobility has certainly increased with Pilates and muscle strength. Now, we don't often think of Pilates as a muscle strengthening exercise, but it absolutely is. So I'll give you some demonstrations a little bit. For those of you that are watching the video version of it, you'll have a better idea of what I'm talking about. But I'm going to show you on the reformer because it's a little bit easier to show you first there, and then I'll show you on the floor. Now, this is not to teach you Pilates. It's just to give you an idea of what Pilates does in order to increase our core strength and our flexibility and all that. So I'm going to start with just some basics, okay? And I'm going to start with the reformer, but then I'm going to show you how you can do it without any equipment. All right, and this doesn't have to be something that you have to invest in right away. This reformer, I think, was less than $300. Is it as good as the one I use in the studios? No, but does it get the job done? It absolutely does, and it's such a good investment. All right, so what you're going to do, these two little poles are for your shoulders. So your head is going to come into the shoulders so that you're nicely aligned. So you can see already, if I have injuries, now I'm protected because I'm set up in the right format. My back is pressed into the lower carriage. My feet come to the carriage. So I'm going to start by pushing away the carriage. So I come in, and I push it away, and I come out. And so I'm starting with my feet parallel. And I do that, and I do roughly 10 to 12 reps, just like you did with weightlifting. And then I will bring my heels up into a Pilates V and do the same thing. You push away, and you come forward. And then you'll use your toes. And then you can take it out wide and do it. So every variation is hitting different parts of your leg muscles. And then from there, we can do our core muscles and our arms at the same time. So we'll push away, we'll bring our leg up, our other leg up. So now we are really working that core. And we're going to bring our arms down. So we're working our core at the same time we work our arms. So we just bring them up and bring them down. Now you can also go in a T movement. So out to a T, back to your hips, and then back forward. So now you're doing a circle, right? So you can see that it's very easy on my back, it's very easy on my legs, working my core, and then you can reverse those circles. So again, I'm not trying to teach you a class necessarily, but I want to show you what it works. Then we have our straps. These are called legs and straps. So you're going to put the strap over one leg and then over the other arm of your foot. So it's right mid-foot, right? And then we're going to pull those down. So we're really working those abs while lying down. So it's a little bit easier on your lower back. And then you could do circles. So you come around, come up. You go one way, 10 to 12 reps, and then you come the other way. So that whole time, you're working flexibility, you're working your mobility, and you're working your core muscles. Okay, so let's go ahead and say, all right, I don't want to invest in this equipment because I don't know if I'm going to like it. And it's expensive. And where will I put it? Now this model rolls up into a suitcase so you can put it away. But I usually just shove it aside. Now let's say we don't want any of that. I'm going to push this down a little bit. we just want to use a yoga mat. Perfectly fine. Okay, so let's talk about what we can do with just a yoga mat. You can use just your leg strength. You can invest in ankle weights. These can be ankle or these can be wrist weights. And that's going to give us some added weight. But in the beginning, you don't need any of that. You just need your body. Let's say that we're going to bring our legs up, tucking our core in like we have a girdle. We're just going to bring those legs down and bring them back up and down and up. And then we're going to do our leg circles just like we did in those straps. Now, if you have not done this before, this may be plenty. This may be all you need. And you don't have to worry about that. But if that seems like, hey, that's really too easy, then we take our ankle weights. These are 3-pound weights. And I think I have up to maybe 10-pound weights in here. We'll just take a second, just Velcros right on. And then you come up, and now you've got that added weight. And let me tell you, you will feel that. Now maybe you're just going to do one at a time. And you'll notice I'm breathing out and up and around and so on. And the same thing that you can do with your arm movements. Now, this doesn't replace strength training. It's just an addition, or you can do combining. I usually do a day of strength training, a day of Pilates, a day of strength training, a day of Pilates. When I first started, I went gung-ho. I did strength training in the morning and Pilates in the evening. I don't recommend that because I think that's too much and it strains your legs and your muscles. So what I do recommend is maybe a 3 to 4 day split of strength training. And I'll tell you how I do my strength training. So you can do a push-pull day, or you can do what I do, which is either back and biceps or biceps and triceps. So bicep curls, hammer curls, tricep extensions, tricep kickbacks, diamond push-ups, tricep dips, bicep crossbody curls, and so on. I will put all in the show notes the splits that I use in case you're interested. But basically what I want you to do is really explore the possibilities of introducing some Pilates, because I really feel that it's so beneficial as we age. For the reason that I said, I think that's a super way to go. Now, okay, let's say you don't want to do Pilates, you want to do more standing exercises. There's a lot of crossover between Pilates and bar exercises. So I'm also bar certified. And let's say that we are doing just bar. It's the same stance. So you have your Pilates V and you're just going to come down and up. So what are you working? You're working the same thing as if you're on the reformer, laying flat on your back and doing frogs with legs and straps. So there's a lot of similarities. Now let's say we're standing tall, we're just kicking it to the back, you're squeezing those glutes. Well, that's the same thing as if you're doing wall Pilates and you're working your glutes on the floor. So however way you choose to do it, what I'm asking you to do is to consider strength training and Pilates, or strength training and bar, or strength training and yoga, so that you're getting the benefits of all of it. Now, I have talked to lots of women I've coached for years. I hear you can get all that with strength training. You can, but you're really not getting all of the mobility with strength training that you are with Pilates or mobility training or bar. It's a different set of muscles. It's a different style of training. One is not better than the other, but in combination, it's super powerful, right? It's just the way to go. We've talked a lot about our muscle tone and our exercise are only as good as our nutrition. And I focus heavily on nutrition in here because I'm a chef, but I'm also a fitness instructor. And I love the combination of eating right, supporting our goals by fueling our bodies, and working out, and getting our fitness on. Because for many years, I was quite sedentary. I was a baker and a chef, and I was constantly in motion that way, but I never put in the time to actually do exercise. And I'll tell you a quick funny story. So when I decided that I really needed some more exercise, I bought a book of exercises that you could do at home. So it was body weight exercises. And it had 6 pictures per day, and you did those exercises. And the first day I really felt like I was dying. Like I was so out of breath, and it was so hard. And I was like congratulating myself for doing it until I read the fine print at the bottom. It says repeat 3 more times. And I thought, there is no possible way I can do this. But lo and behold, I kept at it until I could do it all. But it was so intimidating, and I was so nervous that I was ready to give up. My desperation to get in shape and to lose weight kept me going. So whatever it takes you to motivate you to actually I shouldn't even say motivate, because motivate comes and goes. Be determined. Get that determination that nothing is going to stop you, and then nothing will stop you. Now, I have said many times I've adjusted over the years. Like I said, I used to do just strength training along with teaching water fitness, and then I felt like I needed to change that up. Similarly, I've changed up my nutrition. I used to be a lot more vegetable-based nutrition, but over time, and as I've aged, I have really taken into account that we need more protein. So I went vegetables and protein. I've scaled back a little bit on the vegetables and focused more on protein and healthy fats, as I've had some medical issues and I needed to be more keto, and that has had a great benefit on my shape. Now, it has not overall affected a huge swing in the scale, but I have dropped quite a bit, and then it just plateaus. But I don't panic over that, because I know eventually it's just gonna keep going. So my goal is just keep mobile, make sure that I'm hydrating and fueling all the time. I now have added daily electrolytes into my meal plans because I was having such bad leg cramps and spasms. So I lay down at night and my legs are like, it's crazy. You could just see the movement in my legs. And if anybody knows from previous episodes, my mom died of ALS, which is arterial lateral sclerosis. I can never really say that right. But it is a muscle wasting disease. And it started with some waving of her muscles, especially in her throat, to the point where she could not swallow anymore and had to have a feeding tube. And her muscles started to deteriorate, but she worked her butt off in the gym and then later on with a personal trainer to keep her muscle tone as good as it could get. Now, she did end up passing away in her sleep. She had some phlegm and she passed away, but she taught me something super valuable: to really keep going. Because no matter what is happening in your body, no matter what your diagnosis is, there's nothing harmful that can come from good nutrition and hard work. You can only improve. So even if you have a diagnosis that is fatal, still continue to do the work, because it will prolong your life and it will prolong how good you feel about yourself. So in that line, every day I pray for each and every listener that you may have good health for a long life. I'm here to support that. I hope that you'll subscribe. It is free to subscribe, and I just love hearing from everybody, so please connect with me. Please comment. I try to comment back to everybody that leaves a comment, whether it's on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or YouTube or iHeart, wherever you happen to be listening. Just know that I am here for you. In the show notes, I will put a link to my free group. You can join us. I also have a free recipe share group. So however you want to connect, I am here for it. Okay, I love you all. I will see you in the next episode. Let me know if you try some Pilates.